Bruchim habaim. Hello, welcome. For those of you who do not know me, I'm Grabelle Herrmann, and I am the Rabbi of SAJ-Judaism, that stands for all. Okay, recording in progress, that's good. Last night and today, in synagogues across the world, we heard this line from the Megillah, from Megillat Esther. Umi yodea im le'et kazot higat lemalchut. Who knows? Perhaps you have attained your position for a moment such as this. Today, we celebrate the story of another Jewish woman in history who was asked by an influential relative who happened to have the same name as the uncle of our heroine in Purim, and asked a similar question by initiating bat mitzvah and asking, or politely telling, Judith that she would be the first. And Judith Kaplan Eisenstein, being in the right place at the right time, in the right family, and gifted with certain talents and abilities, put fear and uncertainty behind her and stood at this synagogue, a few doors down back in the day, and became the first bat mitzvah in the history of the United States. And in doing so, in the vein of our other Jewish heroine, she changed the course of history forever, as we will hear much more about this evening. So for that, let us get a big round of applause. As my preacher colleagues would say, can I get an amen? We get an amen. And tonight, 100 years later, we commemorate and celebrate. And in such a moment as this, in a time of war, with our hearts with Ukraine, and with strife and hatred abroad and at home, even at a time like this, and maybe especially at a time like this, it is vital that we take time to rejoice. Just as the holiday we celebrated teaches us, La Yehudim hayta ora v'simcha v'sason v'yikar kain tihi elanu. The Jews of old enjoyed light and joy and gladness, and so may it be for us. May the joy in celebrating Judith and the 100 years of progress that have been made fuel us for a better, more equitable world, Jewish community, and let us say, Amen. Tonight, we also kick off Rise Up Bat Mitzvah at 100 National Shabbat, an initiative created by SAJ and the Jewish Women's Archive, with 19 national and renowned Jewish organizational co-sponsors. And we're gonna have our tech person bring up the list and scroll down to all these amazing co-sponsors. They span 5 Jewish denominations, as well as including secular feminist organizations. Thank you. Over this coming Shabbat, congregations across the country, from New York to Los Angeles, to Missouri, to Ontario, not just the country, to Virginia, to Chicago, to Boston, and everywhere in between, people will celebrate Bat Mitzvah in their own way, utilizing the resources, the incredible resources found on the Rise Up Bat Mitzvah at 100 website. And if you haven't checked it out, please do so after, and the link should be in the chat for those who are home. Today, I even received an email from a leader in a congregation in Brussels that has a full day of programming this Shabbat to celebrate Bat Mitzvah. For the national and even global Jewish community to come together like this, around something positive, around something inspiring, fills me with incredible hope for a bright future for our children and our children's children. And I hope it does for you as well. We have an incredible and packed program for this evening with scholars, rabbis who each have a different area of expertise to talk about, performances, and elected officials, including, drum roll please, the first female governor of New York, who will join us this evening. Before we jump in just a second, I want to offer a little bit of housekeeping and acknowledgements. First, we welcome everyone here on the Zoom who's coming from all over the country and world. Someone signed up from Mumbai. Welcome to all of you. We're so glad you're here. I'm not sure what the number is right now, but a little bit ago it was 259 people on the Zoom. I want to also acknowledge that we are holding this event and broadcasting this event in the Upper West Side of Manhattan, which is the traditional homeland of the Lenni Lenape people on the Lenape Island of Manhattan. We are grateful for the opportunity to be on this land. Second, I want to acknowledge that among maybe people in the room, and I think for sure on the Zoom, are members of Judith Kaplan Eisenstein's family, and we want to thank you for being with us. And I want to also acknowledge that in this room and on the Zoom are trailblazing women, first women leaders in their congregations and their positions in their geographic areas. Some of them emailed me this week to let me know. And we truly stand on your shoulders this evening. So thank you for everything you have done to blaze a trail for people like myself and so many others. Lastly, I want to point you to your program books. There is a link in the chat for those who are at home, and the program book here. This will have the full bios of every speaker. To save time, we're not going to read every bio, but we really encourage you to read it along and take it with you. And it also has a very, very long list of thank yous at the end. But in addition to those long lists of thank yous, there are a few people that it is necessary to give a bit of special attention. First, Judith, and I see her in the Zoom right now, Judith Rosenbaum, CEO of Jewish Women's Archive, who is joining us from Boston. I approached Judith and also Carol about this idea, this wacky idea about 6 or 9 months ago, and we have been partners day to day, week by week, ever since, and Judith has done so very much. Thank you, Judith, for everything you do for this and for everything you do in your work at Jewish Women's Archives. The second person is Mick Moore. I want to invite you to stand, Mick. Thank you, please. Where would we be without our allies, the genius behind at Judith Kaplan 1922 Instagram story series? This, for those, we're going to talk a little bit more about it later, but if you have not checked out these stories, you need to. They are fantastic. They tell history in a creative and beautiful way, and in a unique way, and they're on Instagram, but if you don't have Instagram, they're also on SAJ's YouTube channel. Thanks, Mick. We want to thank Sally Gottesman, who is at home this evening, who is our executive producer, and without whom none of the Instagram project would not be possible. I want to thank Eva Weiner, the Deputy Director of Jewish Affairs at the Executive Branch, where she's in the corner there, who was really a strong and fierce advocate of getting the governor to join us this evening. Thank you so much, Eva. And I want to thank two people who have been going above and beyond. Monica Klein, our press and PR person, and Eden Sidney Foster, our administrator for the 100th anniversary. Now, I turn our program next to Dr. Rabbi Carol Balin. Carol, come on up. Her full bio is in the program, but I just want to say that Carol is writing a book on bat mitzvah, and she really is the expert on bat mitzvah, and she has been so incredibly generous in sharing her research, her Torah, and her learning with me, with the entire team, but also with the Jewish community at large. So thank you so much, Dr. Balin.